That is Kiwes Feyilio Olagbaye. She's somebody we are proud of in the profession today. She's a special assistant to the governor on community relations in Oyo State. So she's a VIP now to the glory of God, and we are proud of you. Having said that, let's go into the lecture proper. The topic we are treating is partnership, participation in infrastructure, concept and implementation. And I have the task to look at the subtitle, Evaluating Existing Infrastructure. My duty is to tell us what I have found that we have in Nigeria as at today. Okay, let's have the outcome of this presentation. The first one is introduction. We look at classes of infrastructure. What is infrastructure? Types of infrastructure, the state of infrastructure, and then we'll have the conclusion. Let's start with the introduction. As a nation, that's Nigeria, we have a land space of 924,000 square kilometers. And our population is about 170 million. Even though people say it's 180, some say it's 200. But I'm using 170,000 for this purpose. Sorry, million. And we have 36 states and the FCT, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And then we have 774 local government areas. Our resources are shared at 3 levels. The federal takes the lion's share, which is 56%. The states share 24%, while the local government share 20%. Whether this is equitable or not, it's not for me to talk about, but that's what we have at the moment. Now, since 1999, like we said, that's the formula for sharing the national resources. Now, the place of infrastructure, according to Oguzobia, the national development is very important and is appreciated in Vision 2020. That document is a policy guideline for government on infrastructural development for Nigeria. That is, by the year 2020, it's projected that Nigeria will become within the first 20 nations of the world when it comes to development. Whether we are working towards that or not is another issue entirely. But that's the policy of government that was initiated as far back as 1999. Now, Otobo sees this vision document as a bold and ambitious plan for joining the group of 20 largest economies in the world by the year 2020. And of course, for any development to take place, there must be infrastructure, adequate and appropriate infrastructure. That is what will make Nigeria or any nation to grow. And by that document of Vision 2020, we require about 30 trillion naira to realize the vision of becoming one of the first 20 economies, largest economies in the world. And of course, we have to lay emphasis on science and technology-based infrastructure within the first 4 years of that, as contained in that document. Now, let's look at the projection that was contained in that document for the first 4 years from 2010 to 2013. Give you some figures. Now, in that document, it's projected that we require about 42 trillion naira in 2010 for infrastructure. 2011, 68 trillion naira. 2012, 35 trillion, and 2013, 81 trillion naira. That was the projection at that time. But don't forget, this was when dollar was about 160 to the naira to the dollar. Then, within the sectors also, there's a projection for how much we require by each sector of infrastructure. Housing was projected to, now here, 461 trillion was projected for housing, and then down agriculture, oil and gas, manufacturing, SMEs, down to transportation. These are projections as envisaged in that document, which was 2020, for the first 4 years from 2010 to 2013. But like I said, this was based on the rate of dollar to dollar at that time, some years back. But now the figures should have changed. Now you ask me, were we able to achieve that? You and I know better. That by the year 2013, we still had shortfall in infrastructure requirements in Nigeria, transportation, housing, and all of that. You know. And let's go to what experts what we define as infrastructure. Now, in the Advanced Dictionary, is defined as the basic systems and services, such as transportation and power supplies, that a country organization uses in order to work effectively. Whatever will make your system to work effectively or to get sufficient services, you know, is what we refer to as infrastructure. That's coming from the Advanced Dictionary. Then, according to Olasheni and Alade, they say that infrastructure is umbrella for many activities usually referred to as the social overhead capital by development economies. The adequacy of infrastructure helps to determine a country's success or failure in diversifying production, coping with population growth, reducing poverty, improving environmental conditions, and indeed socio-economic development can be facilitated or accelerated by the presence of infrastructure. If these facilities are not available, are not in place, you will have, it's very difficult to have any development. So what we are saying is that for us to develop and to make life easy and simple for everybody, we need to have essential facilities to be in place. Let's go to classes of infrastructure. There are two major classes of infrastructure. You have the social infrastructure and then the physical or economic infrastructure. We'll define what each of them means. Now, social infrastructure, these have to do with education, health, recreation, housing, etc. These ones come under social infrastructure. And then the benefits of social infrastructure, when they are available, if you have good housing, you have access to health, it's cheap, it's affordable, and you have access to it, recreation, housing. When you have all these in place, the benefits include innovation, invention, productivity in the economy, and of course you have a boost in the quality of daily life of everybody, and then it affects the output, you know, of each individual, which will accumulate in the GDP. Now let's look at innovation, for example. When you live a comfortable life, you can think. Is that not so? Everybody, like this morning, I was on the program this morning looking at the news items, and we saw there was a report which ranked Lagos as one of the 143rd, you know, most recorded nations, cities to live in. And that can be very correct. In Lagos, you have to leave your office by 9 or 10 p.m. to avoid traffic. And then you get home, say 11 or thereabout. You wake up in the morning by 3 a.m. so that you can be at work by 8 o'clock. In some areas, if you leave later than 7 o'clock, you won't get there until 11 or so because of traffic. Now, how can you think in that kind of environment? How can you have a good family life? Your children are there, they won't see you, they will have slept before you get home, and before they wake up, you have left. I had a similar experience when I was working with, I mentioned with Copec some years back. We had a child then. Little child, she's now a graduate, she's married now. I would close from work between 7, 8, 9, then do some other things. I would not get home until about 8:39. And by that time, she would have slept. We would get to work by around 8 o'clock. By 6:30, I would wake up. And then, so at the time, for her to carry her, she'd be crying because she was not used to me. There was no time to interact. So and I said, I must take this job, or I was making the money from there. But I wasn't a good family man. I wasn't a good father to her. So that was why I had to change to another federal government establishment. That's the way I was there for a brief quite close to University of Ibadan. And you could see in the interaction, I had time to attend to her and then to my wife as well. You know. So if you live in a place like Lagos, there will be no time for you to even think. To live a rational life will be difficult. You cannot be productive. I saw on TV about when I was preparing for this lecture, I saw somebody flying in a helicopter. They wanted to throw the basketball into the net. And I was supposed to be Feyi. I said, Feyi, don't you think that this man who had this initiative to fly and throw the ball, basketball into the net downstairs at some very high, at a very high level. I don't think if he does not have some comfort, both in the way he sleeps, in what he eats, and he's sure of a good medical care if anything happens, like a crash or something. Don't you think it's because he has good infrastructure to support him that he could think of something like that? So this tells you the importance of infrastructure when it comes to a national life. So innovation, when you are well rested, you could sleep well, you could eat well, you could, you have everything in place. You know to innovate, and then you can even invent. I'm sure if those who invented electricity, all the things we are enjoying today, didn't have good infrastructure, good time for them to rest, a good place to sleep and all that, they would not have enough time to think of all these things. So that's how important a good infrastructure is to us as individuals and then to us as a nation. So these are very important. And then you have productivity. They are well rested. And World Bank survey indicates that quality of social infrastructure affects urbanization is directly proportional to the GDP. Now, what makes Lagos different from my hometown, Elashe, for example? I know you don't know Elashe, you don't know. Okay. Now, Elashe is not a village, it's by a city, but then it's not as developed as Lagos. Now, in Lagos you have Mr. Biggs, Mr. Small, you have this, you have that, but over there, you don't have it. So that's the difference. It's the quality of infrastructure you have in a place that determines how developed it is or not. Now let's look at physical infrastructure. This we know very well. I mean, this has to do more with us. Public utilities, roads, electricity, telecommunication, transportation. And then, of course, the benefits include effective economic activities, gross, the GDP, and per capita income. And then, where development of economic infrastructure has followed a rational, well-coordinated and harmonized path, growth and development will receive a good boost. So this is just emphasizing again the importance of infrastructure to us as individuals and as a nation. Now, let's look at the types of infrastructure that we have. We said mainly we have social, and then we have physical. That's the two branches that we have. But let's look at the types that we have. For transportation, I'm sorry. Oh. This is okay. For transportation, you have road, railways, aviation, maritime, and urban transportation. Then for utilities, you have power generation, electricity transmission and distribution, you have gas, telecoms, and water. Then for social, you have hospitals, schools, educational centers, and you have ICT. These are the types of infrastructures that we have. But for this purpose, I will limit myself to transportation and utilities, that's energy. Look at the state of infrastructure in Nigeria as we have, by the record I could get today. Transportation, let's look at the road, for example. Adequate road infrastructure is central to the economic growth of any nation. It is at the core of good governance and public welfare. Any improvement in road infrastructure positively impacts the nation's GDP. At independence, we had 6,500 kilometers. By year 2010, it had risen to 103,000 kilometers. Now, of this figure of 3,200 kilometers, this is the distribution. Now, the federal government has 35,000 kilometers, which is 18% of the gross. Now, of this, 40% requires rehabilitation. That is fair in outlook. 27% is in good condition. 3% is unpaved. It still requires pavement. That's for the portion of the federal government, 5,000 kilometers. For states, we have 17,000 kilometers, which is 15% of the gross. And of this, 17% is in poor condition. That's quite alarming. The local government has 150,000 kilometers, and which is 7% of the gross. And all of them, about 7%, is in bad condition. That is the state of our roads as we are by the fact I could get. Then let's compare what Nigeria has with what other nations have. Some nations have. Brazil has 1.751 million kilometers of road. And Nigeria, federal government of Nigeria has 35,000. In all, 103,000. Population of Brazil is 176 million. 106 million. That means per every kilometer, you have 11 persons. For every straight of kilometer you have in Brazil, that's just play with figures. People. India has 3.3 million kilometers, and the population is 1.2 billion. And that means that for every kilometer, you have 374 people. Netherlands, the person per kilometer is 123. Turkey, 173. Nigeria, 841. What does that tell us? One, when you have this number, when you have this number, I'm sorry, I'm playing with this thing. Just a minute, please. When you have this number, 841, persons per kilometer, and you have 11 per kilometer, what do you think will happen? The comfort you will get in Brazil, God help me with this thing. The comfort you will get here will be far higher than what you will get here in Nigeria. Is that also? What does this tell us? We have more work to do in Nigeria. That's the next, so just a minute, let me confirm that the next slide. I have issues with this thing, please don't pardon me. The next one, okay. Good. Okay. Now the main issue here is the quality and quantity of road services are inadequate due to lack of maintenance, which has led to the dilapidated state of the network. And of course, like we said, most of it are in bad condition. Some require maintenance. Then you have weak traffic and safety law enforcement, the road safety and all of that. You travel on some road, you see trailers are broken down, and the people are just trying to manage the other lane to pass. There are a lot of other things that inadequate design. You have some designs that are not adequate. You find, I'm tempted to say something, but I want to reframe it. We had a governor in our state here that built 20 kilometers of road. But two weeks after, some of them became dilapidated because of some other things that you and I know. So such things are impacting on the state of our roads. Let me also say this. We also have a governor in our state that is building roads. The roads have proper drainage, and the quality is very high. And if somebody is doing good, I think we should mention it. The current governor of our state is doing very well. It's not about the cost, than what we see. I mean, look at the LLE, Challenge, all those, they're good. I mean, I'm impressed by what's happening there. Those roads will last. They won't collapse in 1 year, 2 years, because there's proper drainage, and then the substructure is also well attended to. So that's what we need in Nigeria. Even if you spend billions of naira, let it be spent on quality products so that we'll have, and then the management of the road. The design, every road has a design. Let's keep to the design. Let's use the roads as per design. That will help us to maintain the roads as appropriate. So from what we saw, in Nigeria, we did a lot more investment in our road sector. Let's go to railways. The railway system in Nigeria has suffered a long-term decline as a result of competition from road transport, which has eroded the rail traffic base and neglect by the government. You are aware of what's happening with trailers. People say particular industrialists in Nigeria, bought trailers, and then some people, because of the income from these trailers, they deliberately crippled the railway system in Nigeria for them to make money. And then the rail system has been, and now the government has embarked on some upgrade covering the western lines, Lagos to Kano, the eastern line, Port Harcourt, Maiduguri, Azakwa, Jakarta, Warri Standard Rail. And then a few days ago, the government commissioned under network in Abuja, and I understand about our own will be on by December. So that's some improvement on what we have. And then some 25 locomotives were reported to have been procured. Some additional touring coaches and wagons are reported to have been refurbished. As a result, available data shows that the number of passengers carried by the rail system has risen significantly from about 1 million in 2029 2009, about 4.2 million in 20. So things are picking up, although it's not enough. We still have to do more. The network consists of 4,032 track and 305 routes in kilometers, characterized by sharp curves and steep gradients in many sections. Only 30 kilometers of the track, the form of double track, and all of that is in the Lagos area. Now I think that is that picture there? The network, the national network. It's not there. Okay. In the documents you have, is there. You will see the network as we have it now in Nigeria. That's from up, down, and then east, west, and all of that. All of that is there. Then there are about 480 passenger coaches and over 4,900 freight wagons. Less than 50% of those coaches and wagons there is unstable condition. And let's look at how Nigeria compares to other nations of the world in rail transportation. Now, Brazil has 20,000 kilometers of rail. Population of 196 million. Then, person per kilometer is 6,814. India has 19,704 persons per kilometer. Netherlands, 5,939 persons per kilometer. Turkey, and then Nigeria has 46,353 persons per kilometer. What does that tell you again? That is trouble when it comes to rail transportation in Nigeria. So we need to do more along that line as well. Let's go to aviation. The 1970 Federal Airport Development Plan, ADP, served as the basis for the growth and development of airports in Nigeria. With an objective of opening up the country for easy access and development by creating airports in each state cap. That was the plan the government had. Then the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria operates 5 international airports located in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt, and Enugu, as well as 20 domestic ones. That's according to Ahmed. That's what Nigeria has at the moment. Then we have 62 private airstrips throughout the country, and 6 of them paved. Then 5 international airports offer scheduled flights to US, Asia, Middle East, and some European hub destinations, including London, Frankfurt, Amsterdam, Paris, but they're only connected to a few capitals in Africa. As a result of this large restructuring going on in the past decade, there has been a decline in the number of aircraft in service and a substantial decline in the average number of available seats per aircraft as a result of a shift to smaller aircraft by the current carriers. In addition, the average age of aircraft fleet and the number has declined significantly since 2007. You are aware of the fact that there was a reform in the aviation industry, and this affected some old aircraft were phased off, and then because of finance, the operators couldn't afford the big ones. They're now going for the small ones. Next slide. Let's see what Nigeria has compared to other nations of the world. Brazil has 4,000 airports, and it translates to 49,000 persons per kilometer. India, 3.5 million. Netherlands, 618,000. Turkey, 36,000. Nigeria, 2,901,000. That tells you that both India and Nigeria require to have more airports to serve the economy. Let's go to maritime. Nigeria has 12 navigable rivers of about 3,800 kilometers and an extensive coastline of about 852 kilometers. These other ways are characterized by inadequate river ports, poor navigational and communication facilities, high risk of sediment, and poor maintenance. And performance is so poor by any standard when compared to what other nations have. For container crane productivity, the figure for Papa port was 12 moves per hour, compared to 25 to 30 moves per hour as by international standard. And for the truck cycle time, global best practice is of the order of 1 hour compared with about 1 day in the major. Okay. I'm almost, next slide please. Urban transport service, well it's largely unregulated and it has a small scale market using a combination of para-transit modes, popularly called Kemarua, and then you have in Badon here you have Mikra, you know. And the roads are narrow and poorly maintained, so there is inadequate capacity, and there are poor conditions, and there's traffic congestion, reduced vehicle productivity, loss of man-hour, and increased vehicle operating costs. Nigerian cities also feature adequate road furniture, such as pedestrian facilities and bus stops, sheds, shelters, public conveniences, and lack of other infrastructure, as well as towing vehicles. I remember that some years back, some professionals, including myself, came together to do a design for Lagos-Ibadan Expressway using international standards. We provided for kitchen facilities in case you're driving and you're tired, you just branch off, take some coffee or tea, then it's nice, but then it was like that from us and somebody else. Just for us to demonstrate what a good road should be, but that was a guide from us and we couldn't prevent it, you know. So what we have at the moment is something like this. I have to rush because of my time. Next slide. Then energy, power generation. We have an installed capacity of 7,000. Utilization is between 3.5 and 4.5. And recently, the Minister of Mines and Power, the Minister of Works, Mines and Power came out to say we have 7,000 capacity now. But I don't know if that's in generation, not even in transmission. And then we have issues with how this is powered. You have hydro, you have gas, and meanwhile the capacity that we should have is 12,000. As of now, we have gas reserves to generate about 50,000 megawatts, but currently only has a stock capacity of 5,000 megawatts. Next slide. You have to rush it. The challenge we face here is in generation. Of course, we know that yes, we are generating enough, but about transmission, the lines are weak. You have vandalization. This is affecting power supply to Nigerians. Next slide. Then you have transmission. We have two types of it. You have the 330 kilovolts network and 132 kilovolts network. And of course, okay, this is what we have. We'll show that I won't more than the time. Therefore, oil and gas, we have 5,020 kilometers of pipe network, and then we have three facilities owned by NNPC, 358 tanks in 22 depots with a combined holding capacity of 2.6 billion liters of PMS. That's what we have in Nigeria. Then water. There are abundant water resources in Nigeria to meet all needs if properly harnessed. There are also some more than 200 dams with combined storage capacity of 34 billion cubic meter and the capacity to irrigate 500,000 hectares of land. And there are about 30 ongoing new dam projects that are going on now, and we hope that it will be completed to give us good water supply. Then the telecommunication. Of course, we are aware that this was regulated some years back. Now we have better access to telecommunication in terms of telephones and internet facilities. So Nigeria is making some progress along that line. Next slide, please. That's for mobile telephony, GSM, and all that stuff. The information is there. You can always get. And then internet and broadband. We also made some progress in this regard. Next slide. Conclusions. Improving Nigeria's economy will require huge investment in infrastructure, and the government has to identify this as a major priority in successive annual budgets. Given the current realities and cash position of the government, developing Nigeria's infrastructure will require significant private sector funding, strong collaborations between government and the private sector, the mechanisms of which I'm sure this workshop will address. Nigeria will not be able to sustain our current level of population and economic growth without enhancing our infrastructure, which offers an opportunity-filled future for infrastructure development in Nigeria, with infrastructure spend estimated to grow from 23 billion US dollars to $77 billion by the year 2025. May it be reiterated that investing in infrastructure will drive economic growth, provide jobs, and deliver better services to the country and majority of its citizens. The World Economic Forum estimates that every dollar spent on capital projects, that is for utilities, energy, transport, waste management, flood, defense, and will generate an economic return of 5% to 25%. And the taking time saves the mind. I thank you for listening. God bless you.
Thank you very much, QS Olaniyan. Another round of applause. Please, I should have mentioned that anyone who has a question as he gave his presentation should write it down so that you could take the questions after. But I know you are still with us, sir. Good. So what we'll do now, please write your questions, and after the second presentation, we'll take the questions first, and then we'll take the questions on the second presentation second. I think that is okay with us. Thank you very much. Another round of applause. I want to say that as he spoke, honestly, my heart was bleeding for this country, Nigeria. How many of you felt that way? My heart was bleeding for this country, Nigeria. There is something I wrote here. What is wrong with us? I had somebody say so many things. Honestly, so many things. What does it take to put these infrastructures in place? Some time ago, I listened to the president and the vice president. He was talking about constructing concrete roads. And I asked, where have they been all these years? What is wrong about constructing concrete roads that can last 30 years? 30 years. And we won't be reinvesting and reinvesting on these roads. What is wrong about putting our railways in shape? How much does it cost? Even the new railway, the new coaches bought recently, I look at them and say, these ones are even refurbished. They're old. What is wrong with us? And South Africa boasts of one of the best rail lines in the world. God will help us. Abi, we resort to prayers. That is what we do. God will help us. All right. The second paper is titled Infrastructure Finance for National Development. And this is to be, this I was made to understand, was prepared by QS Professor Bola Babalola in conjunction with QS Mrs. R.T. Adebi. A round of applause for both of them. But to do the presentation, so join me in welcoming Professor Babalola. You're welcome, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, thanks so very much. I'm delighted to be here again after so many years. Thank you very much. And I thank God that we are all looking radiant, and I appreciate all those that are holding forth. We thank God that the chapter is, swearing higher and higher. And it's a prayer that as we inaugurate another Senate tomorrow, the improvements will even be higher than before. I have some ladies that I'm mentoring, because anytime I have invitation, I might not be chance to attend. So I have some of them. In fact, in November 2016, when I was called upon by KOS Gobiwale to come and deliver a paper, I was not chance, so I asked a lady to come. So she was one of them. Today we are going to have another mentee of mine that will speak to the paper and I will round up. But before that, I'm coming up to recognize some people and to appreciate what they have been doing in the chapter. The incoming chairman, thanks for the good work that you are doing. And I appreciate all the past chairmen. I can only see QS Olaniyo around. Thanks so very much. And the chairman of the occasion, my very good friend, Akin Adejumo. He's a pastor, and he said we should be praying for Nigeria. Yes, we have been praying, we'll continue to pray, but we need to act. God will not come down from heaven to do anything for us. Yes, I think, not in any particular order, all the ESCO members, Abidoye from Polybad and others, and I think I saw Mr. Kiezola Fari. Okay, he has gone out. Okay, you are welcome from Mr. Okay. And to our young assistants, what's the post? Assistant of, special advisor, special assistant to the governor. Sincerely speaking, Feyi is very dear to so many of us. When I was in church, I want to say this so that you can know that there is a special grace of God upon our life. Sit down, because you are not a big person. Yes, after governor, deputy governor, the commissioners, we should be talking about the special assistant. Yes, God has placed you there. When I was HOD, Feyi will come with scholarship forms. When I was HOD, I think I signed not less than 5 for her. And she won all of them. All of them. And I'll be joking with her, you must bring my own 10%. So it has been like that. And I know it's a good, it's not a thing of joy. Her dad is late. Yes, I was thinking that time that maybe it was the dad's spirit that was falling upon her. Sincerely speaking, she had that special grace. Any scholarship form she will bring, I will sign as HOD, then she will come back that I won it. So like right from beginning. So I'm not surprised that this thing is still following you. So keep it up. The grace of God will continue to be on the increase. Yeah, so I appreciate everybody and the waxing members, waxing strongers, the coordinators from Okogi, Kwara, and the one for your QS Buki. and all our students from Ife. We appreciate everybody. QS Scholar Wale, I think I get it. The aluminium man, Akinrolu. Yes, I appreciate everybody. I'm not mentioning your name. My own is just to greet you and appreciate you for welcoming me back after a very long time. So I invite QS Ronti to do justice to the paper, then I round up.
The chairman, Nigeria Institute of Quantity Surveyors, Oyo State Chapter, is member of the Senate, the chairman of the occasion, and my district. I'm here before you this afternoon on behalf of Professor Olubola Babalola to present the paper titled Infrastructural Finance for National Development. I am Adebiyi Ranti Taibat. Infrastructure is one of the most important factors to be considered in any sustainable development of any emerging country. Infrastructure development of a nation cannot be considered in isolation without talking of the state of infrastructure development of that nation. Nigeria, as an example of an emerging country or developing nation, has potential to house a large number of infrastructure developments, worldwide infrastructure investments. But because of quite a number of some challenges, Nigeria, that potential cannot be showcased. The challenges of a lack of finance, government policy, difficulties in recovering of costs, the poor control of public spending, huge budgetary allocation to recurrent expenditure, and lack of investment from both the public and the private sectors. All these challenges result into poor, deplorable condition of infrastructure in Nigeria. And as a result, we have low productivity growth, we are into low income growth, we are into low savings, low level of industrial development, and ultimately end up in vicious cycle of poverty. And thereby, made doing business is very difficult and restrictive in Nigeria. When this paper talks about infrastructure development, we refer to as the physical assets required to support both economic activities and social services, which comprises of the road, bridges, airports, transit, ports, railways, energy production facility, distribution network, telecommunication system, water and sewer system, solid waste, housing, and even health center, quite a number of structural facilities that you can talk about. Review indicated that infrastructure can be grouped into two different components, which are the economic infrastructure and the social infrastructure. Under developing economic infrastructure, we talk about the transportation sector, which consists of the road, the public transit, the aviation, which involve the airports and the navigation system. Then also waterways. Same economic infrastructure, talk about the environmental sectors, utility sector like the electric and power supply, then the gas supply. Also under same economic infrastructure, talk about the telecommunication system. The other components of the infrastructure which we talk about here is the social infrastructure, which consists of the public health sector, the education sector, judiciary and conventional system, housing and community, government buildings. I also talk about the civic and cultural building, like the judiciary, the library, and the recreation center. The infrastructure system has the nation. When we talk about the impact, it promotes productivities, provide amenities which enhance the quality of lives, Also, provision of infrastructure connects people to jobs, goods, and services. Also enhance rural transformation and agricultural development. By so doing, the produce from the farm can be brought to the cities for proper use. Then, provision of infrastructure also provides access to international markets. It facilitates rapid growth of information and idea. Also provides services to household and business. Provision of infrastructure enhances human capital development. Because of the great impact the infrastructure has on the economy, the estimate for financing this infrastructure development. The AFDP estimated about 350 billion for APEX investments over a period of 9 years. Also, the AFDP also estimated about $100 billion over 9 years of OPEX investments, and quite a number of other amounts of money that are required for this infrastructure provision. Most of the country now seek for most effective which this infrastructure facility can be financed. This brought us to look at the various sources of infrastructure financing. We all know that in Nigeria here, federal government is the main financier of the infrastructure provision. Government financial infrastructure provision, and on the average, federal government of Nigeria provide about $3 billion yearly for the provision of the infrastructure. But this is still not sufficient in the country. So there are so many of these government intervention programs. Like in the past, we talk about the PTF, which were involved in the construction of roads, provision of health centers, provision of drugs into most of the health centers. And also, we talk about the DFRI, that's Directorate of Food, Road, and Rural Infrastructure. They also finance infrastructure projects. And also the Oil Mineral Producing Agency, producing area, the Area Development Commission. But in the recent, we talk about the NDDC, the TEST Fund, and also the SHOPI, which emanated as a result of the removal of subsidy from the oil. The states and local governments also involved in the provision of infrastructure, which through their statutory allocation and grants from the federal government, the external loan, and also their internally generated revenue from all the states. Bank and some other specialized institutions also involved in financing infrastructure, which like the Bank of the Industry, the Federal Mortgage Bank, which they are specialized in housing provision, the Nigeria Exports and Imports Bank, Bank of Agriculture, the Infrastructure Bank, and also the National Economic Reconstruction. All these things, they provide enough infrastructure for the nation, and thereby also in the financing of infrastructure are some international organizations and donors, which we must not forget to talk about: the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the UNDP, the UNIDO, the UNICEF, USAID, and Africa. Quite a number of them are involved in providing infrastructure, financing infrastructure for the country. But still, we don't still have sufficient provision of infrastructure in all across the nation. So the involvement of public-private partnership emanated as a result of this insufficient provision from the government. The public-private partnership, which we refer to as PPP, refers to an arrangement between the public and private sector in which the private party provide public infrastructure or services and assume substantial financial and technical operation risk that are involved in this provision of this infrastructure, which is a long-term agreement between the private sector party and the government, in which the private sector most times design, build, finance, and operate public infrastructure in exchange for some form of profit. After all, they are the private sector are in business to make money, to make their profit. So the PPP combines the strength of the public sector mandates to deliver the services of as its role as a regulator and coordinator of public functions, with the private sector focus on profitability to deliver infrastructure facilities. The issue of PPP that emanated as a result of insufficient funds from the government be able to solve two highly contextual problems, which is, apart from funding the infrastructure, and also it helps in operation and maintenance of this infrastructure upon completion. Typical projects financed by the PPP initiative across the countries are in Lagos, the common Lagos-Epe Expressway, the Terminal 2 of the Murtala Mohammed Airport, the two main gateways in the Federal Capital Territory, the Airport Expressway, other northern expressway which run from Zuba to Kubwa and to Asokoro in Abuja, then Shagamu-Bini Road, Lagos-Badagry Road, and Abuja-Kaduna Road, and quite a host of other infrastructure that have been provided through the PPP. The PPP has quite a number of models. The choice of the particular model is determined by the risk, nature of the risk, and the level of the risk involved in the particular project, and also the thorough evaluation of the project's future determine any of these models that can be chosen, like the service contracts, the operation and management contracts, the leases, concessions, and build, operate, and transfer. The Infrastructure Commission, Concession and Regulatory Commission was a kind of an act which was is an organ to regulate the provision and packaging of this infrastructure provision through the PPP. They require the ministry, the agency, and department to involve any state or federal government that is required to involve in the provision of infrastructure through PPP. And all the state arm of governments are required to involve, except the local government that are not mostly involved in the provision of infrastructure through the PPP. They have these packages, the way in which these infrastructure provision are packaged by initially identifying and prioritization of a PPP project. Having been identified, the project to be handled. Then the ministry, departments, and agency obtain the clarification from the National Planning Commission that the project is in line with the plan priority, that this is part of what is initially established as a project to be carried out. Then the ministry, departments, and agency also submit spending plan for the PPP project to the Ministry of Finance and the Debt Management Office for appraisal. After this has been carried out, the Ministry of Finance and DMO review the cost and the contingent liability of the proposed project and advise the MDA on possible revision where necessary. After that has been done, the Ministry, Department, and Agency includes acceptance spending. The acceptance spending plan in the budgets of, as agreed by the Ministry of Finance and the GMO. The budget is approved by the legislator. Then the MDA permits to move spending between the different budget cells. Funds are disbursed to the FDA, the preparation or auditing of annual accounts, and so on till the constitution of the contractual payments under the PPP project into the national accounts is involved. This public-private partnership, which is there to solve the problem of insufficient infrastructure facility, has quite a number of benefits for carrying out the project, which is one, value for money, the quicker delivery of projects, risk transfer, increased investments, increased budgets, also that this financing certainty, improve service delivery, potential political benefits, private sector growth and stability, and elimination of corruption. Those are the key benefits that we derive from the involving public and private partners with the government in the provision of infrastructure. These PPP cannot go on without facing some challenges, like we were able to discuss here. Which one? Financial limitation. There's limits to which the private can go into, that have access to funds in order to finance this infrastructure. We have dominance of public companies, corruption, inability of private companies to access affordable long-term loan, also lack of continuity in administrative policy by the political office holder, and even particularly the MM2, the Murtala Mohammed, the MM2 that was also involved in a partnership, witnessed the program. The concession was for a period of 7 years, and witnessed 5 different ministers, and also quite number of times the headship were changed, which they came out with their own different policy and the program, which affected the construction between the private, it affects the delivery of the project. Inability of Nigerian bank due to size to cope with long-term loan for the PPP project, and when such loans are available, the interest rates of them are too high to cope with. Also, another challenge faced by the PPP initiative is lack of sound and legal institution framework, which is as a result of also the premature termination of concession rights by the government is another major challenge that is faced by the PPP initiative. So this paper concludes by able to discover that there is huge infrastructure, there is need for huge demand for, there is demand for huge infrastructure services in Nigeria as an example of developing nation. The paper also established that a large number of infrastructure in Nigeria were financed through direct budget expenditure from year in, year out. But the budgetary allocations for these capital projects are not sufficient enough to provide the required infrastructure that is needed in the country. Then also, infrastructure development remain grossly inadequate relative to the nation's requirement due to lack of funds. Alternative methods of financing infrastructure as PPP are required. Also, the paper also concludes that the PPP improves sustainability and growth of infrastructure development through value for money project assessment and improved delivery performance. The paper finally recommends that realizing the commendable results of involving participation of PPP call for an establishment of necessary regulatory framework for proper implementation of the PPP project as a source of finance and provision for infrastructure, and the institutional architecture which handle market development, dispute resolution, among others, for implementation of infrastructure projects in a single clear bill. There is also need to improve the policy and legal environment to ensure that the method work well and investors are given confidence in recouping their investment. Nigerian bank through the CBN should be assisted to cope with the PPP finance as a sustainable long-term finance mechanism. It is the key to the success of the PPP project. It's only when these funds are available on a continual basis to finance the infrastructure that the process can be regarded as sustainable. Thank you for listening.
Please go to the first slide. The next one. There is no gainsaying that that infrastructure is the engine that drives any nation. And we have known that there is a wide gap between the demand for infrastructure in Nigeria and the supply. And Kieslani told us the deplorable state of our infrastructural facilities in Nigeria. You all know it. Our roads are bad. There is no supply of good potable water. The electricity is epileptic. We have so many problems. He showed us that we had 56 airports in Nigeria. Even the 56 airports, how many of them are up to international standard? So it's very, very sad that we are in this position. And the challenges we have, the reason why we are in this mess is because there is no finance enough, there is no adequate fund. We lack adequate finance for infrastructure in Nigeria. And this also has to do with the government policy. If you look at the budget, you will see that Nigeria government, they allocate a lot of money, very huge amount of money to recurrent expenditure. What they will be spending year in, year out. But for capital project, it's very, very little. So that is number one problem. Then there is difficulty if people, we are talking about PPP. We have so many private investors that are ready to invest in infrastructure. But for them to recover their very, very difficult. And anybody that wants to invest, the major interest will be in profit making. And if the profit is not that we have done PPP for, out of the whole of Nigeria for 170 million people. So that is not enough. Can you go to where we have the estimate for infrastructure? Okay, yes. So we have this estimate by AFDP. This organization estimated that for us to get away from this mess, Nigeria needs 350 billion as capital expenditure over a period of 9 years. So that is, we have 350 billion naira over a period of 9 years. They will be talking like people in London, in UK, in USA. That is, our infrastructural facilities will be superb. Then there's another, they're saying also, apart from this capital investment, government should also set aside $100 billion over that period too, for as the operating expenditure. So we need that. That one has been calculated for us. And there's another study by McKinsey. That organization estimated 31 billion naira for 10 years. That's like 310 billion. It's almost close to 350. So they are very close. But where do we get the money from? And we know that these organizations, the two of them, they told us that there are two key participants that can bail us. First is the government. You know, the government is the largest employer of labor, and it's their responsibility to provide all these basic amenities for us. And Kiyozolani was telling us that from governors, or maybe the governor constructed roads, and workmanship. Then there's another one, the current one, that is giving us standard workmanship. I remember when he was talking, there was a time in Oyo State, one of the, I can't remember now, state government selling pure water for us. People are saying, how can state government be selling pure water? Has that governor forgotten that it's his own responsibility to provide us with potable water? So you are not, like, you are shying away from your responsibility, asking us to be buying water. What you are supposed to provide for us. So we are being told that it's government, whether federal, whether state, whether local government, should be the ones that will provide these basic amenities. Aside of them, then we should have the private sector being invited to join. Then what we see, that over the years, government has been, contributing maybe on the average of $3 billion to capital project investment. And look at 3 billion. If you say 350 over 9 years, that one 350 divided by 9 is how much per year? That one should be like 40. 40 times 9 is 360. So like 40 billion, and they are giving us just 3 billion every year. So that means that one cannot go anywhere. That's where the problem lies. Then we look at it that even when we had oil boom in the country, how much are we earning as a nation from oil boom? We have something like 50 billion on the average, 50 billion every year. So that means governments cannot do any other thing. If it needs to invest in capital, investiture, taking 40 billion out of 50 billion overall. That is where we are. That was when we have oil boom. Not now that, we are even in a mess. So we're not saying that we are in a big problem. Government cannot finance it based on the resources that we have. Aside of corruption, embezzlement and all sorts, even the money that is coming in is not enough to combat the problem of infrastructural shortages in this country. Then what is way out? I think I gave it to you to type out. You didn't type it. Something like warehouse. What do we do? I have two solutions. The first one is that there should be increase in private sector participation. Yes, that is the solution. Government cannot bail us out. They can't. They don't have the capability. They don't have the capacity. It's private sector that will join. And that's why the issue of PPP is very, very important. But now there are so many bottlenecks attached to this PPP in Nigeria, the way it's being practiced. So government should look into it and remove all the bottlenecks so that private sector, they'll be interested to come in. They want to make profit. All the bottlenecks attached to it should be removed. Then another thing is that there is infrastructure bank in Nigeria, and we have just only one. That one has to be decentralized. You can't just have only one infrastructure bank in Nigeria. It's situated in Lagos. I think maybe the head office in Abuja. They have a branch in Lagos. So it's no go round. And I just remember the way we had the Federal Mortgage Bank that time. The only one providing housing loan, housing fund for people. That it was the time that it was decentralized. That we have so many mortgage houses. We have can somebody remind me of those names? Yes, we have so many of them. Forum, yes, we have Forum Housing, Finance House. We have so many of them. But the policy that backed them up, failed. So I think it's like government will still bail us out in a way of policy formulation that will benefit those that are interested, the investors. So those are the two things that we should do to bail us out of this problem. The government should look at the policy backing up PPP in Nigeria and remove all the bottlenecks that are there to get investors interested in it. Then the infrastructure bank, because when we had those mortgage banks, the primary institutions, that's what they are called that time. When we had them, they were the ones sourcing for funds. So they removed the headache of sourcing for funds from federal government. So they will be the ones that will go and source for funds, and they will come, they will give us loan at low interest. I think single-digit interest that time. I didn't really know why it did not work. Maybe because of our attitude, I don't know. And this time around, government should see that infrastructure bank established how many years ago, maybe like 10 years ago. We have not even felt the impacts at all. I see some people are not even aware that we have infrastructure bank. Nobody, because we are still the same level we had that time. I think there's another thing I typed there about the maintenance of even the ones that we have. The ones that governments have financed, how are we maintaining them? If we maintain them very well, at least we'll have a kind of relief. Then the ones that are doing now, some people came to our campus, they saw the whole buildings constructed many, many years ago, compared with the ones that have been constructed, maybe like 10, even 5 years ago. You cannot even compare them. They are incomparable. Even for our roads, if you travel from Ibadan to Ife, the whole road, very solid. The one they just constructed, then something is wrong with us. And it has to do, in fact, a lot of things have to be overhauled, starting from our education. The way we train our students, the students, they don't really have that practical knowledge. And they are the ones that we are handing over to. They will come back to construct, and within a few weeks, you have potholes on the road. The road will be, it's not even be what you are expected to do. So in this country, we had that problem of standard work being done. Then the materials that are being used, they are not even of high quality. So everything, in fact, this thing has permeated into all fabrics of this nation, and even we people that are even, engaging them and using them. So we should, Pastor said we should be praying. Yes, we will pray. I know that it's time will come that we will be bailed out of these things. And it's the younger ones that are coming behind, they should begin to think of what they will do. And I think I've said it before, I don't know whether in this forum, that our forefathers, when they needed anything, time, they will use it. They will look for ways to get those things. When they needed fire, they used stone to make fire. When they needed to cultivate, they made holes, they made cutlasses. But our whole generation, and part of this generation, we are very lazy. Instead of to build on what they did, to improve on what they did, we relied on the white people, Western world, to provide for us. So we'll just be sitting there, they will be buying for them. So it's high time the younger ones, me, I'm going towards the old age now. So the younger ones, we are saying that we are in jet age. That we are in jet age. So they should be the ones now thinking how to invent things that will make things happen. Then when you are given anything to do it with the best of your ability. Do it, with faithfulness, with truthfulness, so that I will not be heading mago anywhere. Then we can make headway. Thank you very much. So before I round off, I want to recognize my HOD so that I will not be sad. That's Dr. Joshua Dada. He's also the chairman of the chapter. And our elder, thanks so very much for coming. And Mr. Clive Enobo. Yes, it's good to have our elders around. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That was a good one. Another round of applause for Professor Babalola and QS Mrs. Ronti Adebi. Thank you so much, so much. We appreciate you. Now, do you have your questions? Written. For the first one, for the first presentation. No question? Comment? Comment? No, I want a question first before comment. But if there are no questions, then we go for the comments. Okay, 2 people comment. Okay. You, sir, and then you, sir. Eh? No, on the first. On the first. Talking about evaluating existing infrastructure in Nigeria for QS Olanio. Okay, before we go to that, do you have questions for paper 2? Any questions for paper 2? Please write it down. Write that question down. Eh? You have for question paper 1, paper 2. Any question for paper 1? No questions, only comments. Okay, how many people have questions for paper 2? Let me see your hand up. 1, 2, 3. Please note your number. 1, 2, 3, then who else? No, only 3 questions. Well, I have my own, number 4. For paper 2. You want to comment? Okay, on 2. Thank you, sir. Okay. No, I'm only going to take 2 comments for paper 2. Who else has a comment for paper 2? Comment for paper 2. 1, 2. That's all. Comment also. Because you are my friend, I don't want to. I don't want to be Saraki here. Hallelujah. All right. All right. Comment, sir. I'll just use the gavel background.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I brought greeting from Osun State chapter. I want to congratulate your state. You know your state is the mother of Osun State. So we recognize that. So thank you very much. So I want to congratulate the Senate and especially the chairman, Dr. Adesiam. I want to congratulate the chapter for this laudable topic. Very challenging one, very appropriate. My comment is on the 2 papers. Thank God for the first paper developed by our brother here, the very challenging one. When he began to roll out all those figures, like the chairman said, I say, wow, this is serious. We have a long way to go, but I know God will help us. So the second paper also talking about the cost. You know, these two papers put together has opened our eye. You know, we know what is on ground, and it's a very big challenge to us. My comment specifically is, we know that this government, they cannot do it. There is no doubt about that. Even if we have the resources, as the Prof has said, the wherewithal is not there to do it. That is the reality on ground. So we need to think out of the box. What do we do? How does it concern us as individuals, as quantity surveyors? The way to go is participation. There is no doubt we will not participate. Then when it comes to participation, how do I come in as individual? How do I come in? Ladies and gentlemen, I believe things cannot just go on like this. A time is coming when there's going to be revolution. You know, we have it in telecommunication sector. There was revolution, and everybody key into it, and everybody is benefiting now. A time is coming in infrastructure, whatever, there is going to be revolution. I believe that. So when that time comes, what is going to be our own take? Where do we come in? I think that's where the challenge lies in. The younger generation that is coming, you know, we need to think out of the box. We need to package ourselves. Forget about your BSc, your whatever. Okay, that is the basis. We need to begin to prepare ourselves for this revolution that is coming. So that when that time comes, as quantity surveyors, as somebody who is knowledgeable about the cost estimating, whatever, we will be able to key in and take our own portion. So that is the challenge I'm throwing to all of us, to myself too, and to everybody in the house. So once again, I want to thank the Oyo State chapter for this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, please help collect other questions. Only those who want to comment will are allowed to speak. But if you have a question, please write it down and pass it forward. Thank you very much. All right, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm Cliff Enobun. I'm a quantity surveyor, project manager, and administrator. I want to say I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing here today, because it's something that is needed in the QS profession if we have to move out of the box. Because a lot of us have been so saddled in big called QS and just remain saddled with taking off and all that, forgetting that quantity surveying is far more than that. I trained as I did my MBA over almost 30 years ago at UI. Then a few years ago, I went back to do MPDI, that's Masters in Project Development and Implementation. Then I've taken interest in a lot of things that impact on the profession of the quantity surveying. But I've seen that in all these things I've been doing, quantity surveying has been reoccurring, has been helping me because I'm a quantity surveyor. Even in management, you find that quantity surveying comes helpful. And you find that even in the Bible, it tells you who wants to build a tower will not first of all sit down and count the cost. So, for the young ones who are coming, what you have seen today, because I'm involved in all these things, infrastructure, I wrote a paper on the Ibadan Express Road, and I knew what happened there. And I did a lot of papers in all these infrastructure issues, and I know what is happening. We are in deep soup in this country. Except we take pragmatic effort in trying to address them, we will run into serious problems. The first thing we should know, when you have a business that is having problems, for those who read business, what do you first of all look at? Look at the structure of that business. How do you cope with the externalities? How do you cope with even what you have? That is the problem we have in Nigeria today. The structure of Nigeria, the structure of governance is what is affecting us. Until we address these issues, we are going nowhere. Where everything is centralized, with all the corruption that is there, I'm telling you, we are killing ourselves today because we see that as everybody, we are baking the cake, nobody is baking any cake, There is only people going there to share. So when you go there to share, and you have not, and it's so small to take care of everybody, what do you have? All these health issues, whatever you are having, they are all symptomatic of the problem we have, the inherent problem we have. And they are still going to be going on. You look at people who are up north, they are part of you, they are part of your country. You are down here, you don't seem to appreciate what is happening. And that is where we are going. Because it will come from that place, come here, even from here to that side. So until we take pragmatic efforts as members in this core profession to know what to do, or else we run into serious problems. I want to thank you so much because this is for the young ones who are here, I must tell you, a lot of QS have passed through me in my small office to train them to know what to do, how to put yourself, if you are looking for money, quantity survey is not for you. Because first of all, you must know what you want. You must be a thoroughbred individual. You must first of all know what you are doing and let everybody know you for whom you are. I was a member of the Oyo State Contract Review Committee set up by the government the last time, during their first tenure. When I was the QS on that committee, and I saw everything, what my eyes saw. At times, when we are at the meeting, when I open my mouth like that, the other will say, keep quiet. I will open my mouth because papers passing through me because I am the quantity surveyor. Other people who were there are people from other professions, but the core issues were on course. What some of our members were doing, what I saw with my eyes, I cannot say. And it's sad. So until we know what to do, until we know that we must be sure that wherever we go to, people can say, yes, this is what this person stands for. If you are looking for money, because some people come to my office, they want to do IT, they want to do one thing, youth corps. Some of them come, they want to look for a place where I ask you, what are you coming here for? Is it money or you want to learn? They will look at me. Some of them cannot even answer me straight to the point. I'm happy for those who have passed through me, those who have worked together, those who we still relate together as professional colleagues. My chairman, we were together for a long time, we worked together in his coming years, and I'm proud to say that himself and the brother, who is also a quantity surveyor, he walked into my office one day, he's looking for a job. I said, who are you? He introduced himself. How did you get to know this office? He said, somebody introduced him that you should come and see me. What is your name? Mention his name. Are you related to him? He said, yes. And he worked with me. And I'm proud to say that their products I'm so proud of. And they are so humble. And I still have a lot of them. And then there's other Yemisi at UI. He's in charge of setting up the QS department. And I want this department, this charter to help and assist her so that it can come on board as early as possible. You know, we discussed it the other time. So there are still a lot of things we need to do because what these issues we just discussed, please, I pray that you give all these things to all of us so that we can see. Let those who are here, the young ones, please go back to school. Don't just rely on your quantity of your, that is not the only thing. Try and drill yourself the more. When I went back to you, I was the oldest in the class. They were calling me a pa. But then, it was, and when the professors come, they say, what are you doing here? I said, I came to study. What do you need it for? I said, I need it for myself. Throughout the time, it was when I was going back to do that course that I went to ask for my certificate from UI. They asked me, say, were you outside the country? I said, no, I'm here. You didn't need it? I said, no, it's just to improve my memory. Even now, I'm planning to go back to school. Yes, I must tell you, when I was in UI, my son was in UI reading medicine. So when I talked to him, I said, he said, Daddy, you know we are schoolmates. Then the other ones are there now doing engineering. When I talk, they say, Daddy, all of us in my house, we all went to UI, plus my wife. So please, let's be interested in developing ourselves. And I want to thank Madam, the professor. Madam, please, I want to thank you so much. Some of your products have passed through me, and I must tell you I'm impressed. I must tell you because I, for myself, I have passed through. I tell anybody who wants to listen, I went to the best schools in Nigeria, public, from primary to secondary to tertiary institution. And I must tell you, I was one of the person you are expecting tomorrow, and I go, it's my classmate. is one of our best in our class. We were the first graduate of Auchi Polytechnic that had HND. And we were associated with the Glasgow College of Printing and this thing for quantity surveying, and that was the core of quantity surveying then. And if I tell you all those people today, they are all over. Most of us have retired from service now, but we keep telling ourselves that it's because of what we put to do ourselves. Some people will write an application to you in your house, in your office now. You can't read through. Please, these are things we must try to, please, we need to bring out our students to know this. I went somewhere sometime in my children's school to give career development, and when I said I was going to talk on quantity surveying, they didn't know anything about quantity surveying. I'm telling you, I said I'm a quantity surveyor. In their school they called me engineer. I said no, I'm not an engineer, I'm a quantity surveyor. Please, all of us, we need to bring up the younger ones, let them know what to do, and please, the issue of corruption is something that we have to talk about, because these are the things that affect all these things we are talking about in Nigeria today. Because when we are in the class discussing all these issues and these issues are coming, the bottom line is always corruption, corruption. And when you want to look at it, you want to define what corruption is, you want to define which one is this and that, the issues, we know what we are talking about. And I pray that God will help us. Because one thing that I want to tell you, they said, in the house of those days, Archbishop, the house of those days, said, there are things you have to do for yourself that you don't need to pray to God for. We are praying that God should come down. God will never come down to help us. We must be pragmatic. We must, things that we should be involved in. The political issues, we should discuss. Let us be involved. I like it, members of the society. And I think that will help us a great deal. Thank you very much. And I want to congratulate the presenters of those papers. They are wonderful research papers. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The words of the elders are words of wisdom. The wise man hears, finish it. Network those days. How many of you remember? We used to hear it over Radio Nigeria. The words of our elders are words of wisdom. The wise man hears and grows wiser. Those days, I'm a small boy anyway. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you. And that was QS Cliff Enubu. Did I get it right, sir? Thank you, sir. Now, we've had the two comments for the first. Now we are going to read the questions. Okay. Questions, yes. After the questions, then the comments. Because it's possible, or maybe we should take the comments first, because some questions could have been answered in the comments. How do you, okay, thank you very much. So, the question for the second paper, why is it that capital funds that are being used and still using to finance the capital projects are depreciating daily compared to the past, in spite of the inflation on construction materials? Okay, that's number one. I will read them together so we can save time. You mentioned earlier that the private sector should be involved in infrastructure. What are the benefits if one decides to invest in such? Then this question has been answered in a way according to the questioner. What measures can be taken to stabilize policies around PPP concession agreements, concession agreements as regards change in government? What are the roles of the quantity surveyor? Okay? And then, what could be a lasting solution for this infrastructure disorderliness in Nigeria? What could be a lasting solution? And then my own. Okay. You can't put all these things. Please answer the first one. Did you get them? And I will help you with that. Okay, let me read everything. I will help you in that regard. The upcoming QS lacks practical knowledge. Most of them rely on online videos of construction for practical knowledge. Also, most tertiary institution syllabus are majorly theoretical. How do we improve the practical knowledge of upcoming keywords? This is not really related anyway, but it's within the purview of the prof. Okay? Did the country who have achieved, I'll just read it as it was written. Did the country who have achieved notable infrastructural development use the PPP to achieve it? Do we have statistics on this PPP that can give us a strategic way forward to improving the infrastructure in Nigeria? I think those are the two questions we have now. I just see that some have not really grasped that aspect when we talk about infrastructural development. So let's welcome Professor Babalola. So the first one is, what is it that capital funds that are, why is it that capital that are being used and still using to finance the capital project are depreciating daily? Compared to the past, in spite of the inflation on construction materials.
Thank you, sir. I'm not part of the policy makers, and I'm not in government. So those that are there that we should ask. And I need to add that despite inflation, the budget for capital expenditure, whatever, is reducing. Despite inflation, the prices are going up. And despite the growth in population. So you should have that one. That despite the growth in population, the capital expenditure should increase. There is no increasing. And prices of materials, workmanship, those prices are going up. Capital expenditure is reducing. And the reason I want to say is that because quantity surveyors are not involved in policy making. So if you are involved, if they are invited, or you would have told them that you need so much for this, then they would have captured it and included it in their budget. I think I've answered that one.
What would be a lasting solution for the infrastructural disorderliness in Nigeria? That's what.
Infrastructural disorderliness. I don't know, do we have infrastructural disorderliness? What we have is deficit, yes. Deficit, and the ones that they are constructing is of low standard. So I think that is, and one of the questions is talking about our syllabus. The content of our curriculum is not sufficient. It's not sufficient to provide us with what we want. And it's because there is this gap between the industry and the academia. So if there is a kind of synergy, a kind of collaboration between those of us in academics and those in the industry, and we have it over and over again, because what we have presently in a higher institution is that you graduate, maybe you are the best student, you will not practice, you will just be absorbed, you will be employed as a maybe lecturer, I don't know what they use in polytechnic, in university as VA, then all like that, no form of practical exposure. So what do you expect? Is what you have that you give out. So what you don't have, you don't give. So if I'm teaching and I don't practice, so what do you expect me to tell my students? And the students, they will go like that, and they will go out, no practical experience, no nothing. So that's what we should expect. So there should be a kind of review. We do review curricula, all institutions, maybe like after 5 years. The regulatory body, KSRBN, will come. They will look at the contents of our syllabus. They will say this is good, this is not good. Do you understand? But that is not enough. I'm saying it's not that is not enough. What we want is that there should be more of practical for professional courses than theory. So theory drives practical. But now it should be more of practical, those in part 4, they will not spend their second semester in school. They will have 6 months IT. The Polytechnic will have 1 year IT. Then maybe there's another 3 months from when the 1 to the 2. So those ones are not enough. So we should increase it. They were also saying that those of them that have made it in practice, they should come back to us and teach us and show us ways, how. I think that was the problem.
What are the benefits if one decides to invest in such, that is private sector PPP?
You should know now, you are investing, you are expecting profit. So like the MM2, the time, yes, Murisala Mohammed Airport, I think it was Babalaki, the head. So he invested so much and he's still collecting money. There is an arrangement that is either you build, operate, transfer, build whatever. There are so many variants of PPP. So the ones that suits you, you look at the profit. If you are going to bank to get a loan, you calculate the interest rate on the loan, how much you are going to to pay back, for how much you are paying back for how long. Then you calculate, you sit down with your client. This is what I'm offering. Then you now have an agreement that I'm getting a loan of 1 billion naira and I'm to pay interest of maybe 500 million on top, less than 1.5, and I'm to pay back in 10 years. So this project, I will operate it for like 20 years. So once I've paid back after 10 years, my own will come. So it's a lot of money. That's why we are saying that there should be infrastructure bank. A very, operational, the one that's really operating, not the one that we have. This one is dormant. That people can get loan. Yes, people can get loan at low interest rates. So once they get the loan, they will use it for infrastructure. They will get their home money. There's a lot of risk. But if they are interested, that there's none of us there that can really have such money. Do you understand? Now, but if you have loans, if you have access to loans, you can do it. So it's a good thing if you have that at the back of your mind. People that this Dangote and all these people, $10, they have the money. But you have proposal, you work package proposal, and you tell them that you invest in this, it will bring that so much, and you are able, you are trustworthy, you are able to follow up. They can, they can buy into it, and give you money to go and do it. So it's a good idea. If you have that idea, please keep it up.
Yeah. What measures can be taken to stabilize policies around PPP concession as regards change in government? If there is a change in government and there is an existing agreement, so what can be done to stabilize it so that the investor doesn't lose his money? And what are the roles of quantity surveyors in this?
Thank you, sir. The PPP agreement, normally you have a lawyer, and we have told them that they should involve a QS in this agreement, drafting the agreement, because it's the quantity surveyor with our training. With our training, we know that the conditions of contract that should go into it. So if we have a change of government, it's just of the way we are practicing democracy or whatever in this nation. There is continuity in governance. That is it. If one government goes, another one that is taking over, we inherit the liabilities and the assets. So everything you inherit, whether your predecessor is leaving debt for you, you inherit it. If it's leaving surplus, you inherit it. So it's the way we are practicing. But I know if they follow the conditions of contract strictly, there should not be any cause for fear. And that makes me to remember some projects that we did together, myself, Mr. King Adejumo, and the chairman. We had a project in Osun State, and when it was Aregbesola, yes, first time of Aregbesola, when we were not too sure whether we will come back, but we were really rushing so that they will pay us. Sincerely, because if it doesn't come back, the money will just go like that, and we just have to forget it. And thank God I have people like them around me, because I didn't have time. To run for the money, they ran after the money and they made sure that the money came out. Yes, so they shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Once you sign an agreement, the incoming, you should take it over. They will pray that we'll practice, democracy or even governance the way it should be practiced.
Thank you, ma'am. Just one or two more questions. Did the country who have achieved notable infrastructure development use the PPP to achieve it? In fact, it's a new thing. It's a new PPP.
Yeah, I think IFRO, I read in dailies that IFRO was bought over by even a Nigerian, one wealthy person. I've forgotten the name. So it's PPP too. The whole of IFRO being bought over and it's being run by, by a private man. So they do it. It's just that it's new in Nigeria. It's not new overseas. Government cannot do everything. Somebody will have to, the private sector will have to join hands to do it. Also, it's Gatwick, not Heathrow. Yes, it was Gatwick, yes. 4 airports that we have. So it's new in Nigeria, but overseas, that's what they do.
Mainly. Yes. Then do we have statistics on this PPP that can give us a strategic way forward? Statistics?
And you know that you can't compare international airports in developed countries with what we have here. It's because even you can't compare MEM2, the one where we have in Nigeria, you can't compare it with the airports. You can't compare with any other airport because when it was first commissioned, so when I thought there was is this Nigeria? At least there was a kind of change from what we have been having before. Before when you go to the airport, you will not be able to use their toilets. Then now that we have these PPP arrangements, for that one, at least you can use the toilets, you can even be proud that you have this. It's better, yes, it's better. So it's better to have private sector participation. And for government works, anything government is no man's business. And if anything is no man's business, nobody will take care of it. That is it. So you have to, but if you know you are involved and your money is there, you must do it very well to get something good out of it. And another thing, when Aeda was talking, he said that if you have lot of money, you are not supposed to be a good quantity surveyor. And but in this case of PPP, you must have lot for money. Because if you are going there to make money. And let me just say on the last time when somebody was talking, he said that in this regime that we have, in the olden days when we have, in the times of our Lord Jesus Christ, when he came, he was healing people, he was raising the dead. And people listened to him. But in this regime that we have, in this dispensation, anybody that will come, people will listen. The person was ready to dish out money. So it's like we are in the era of money making. So PPP is also about money making. Anybody going there will have at the back of his mind, his or her mind, that I'm going there to make money. And if you do it very well, you will make it. Yes.
Then one last one. Yes, my own. Well, there is one here, but you have answered that, talking about curriculum and things like that. You have answered that. Mine is, how do our values and cultures impinge on infrastructural development in Nigeria? Our cultures and values. How does it negatively affect infrastructural development? Okay, let me just say one thing in addition. That was a project I was involved in last year. The project were brought in to supervise. So it was a different set of consultants that did the pre-contract works. So we had to be involved in the post-contract works. And we discovered that the bill was like 3.2. But when the project was 90%, almost 90% completed, the contractor was due for only 1.2.
You up to like 90%. Supposed to be.
When it was about 90 or 95% completed,
the profit was very wide. I think I will blame the quantity surveyor that did the estimates. And Covenant University not establishing quantity surveying department because of that reason. That was what I heard. They said he had building department, he had architecture, estate management, building. The quantity surveying is not in Covenant. Because you will say QS, even in Bells University, the VC will tell us that QS will inflate the cost of construction. That's what we are saying now, that the project was 3.2. So I think we need to look at the way we do our estimates. And I don't blame us. You know, the allowances we give for like concrete now. Let's say you are estimating for concrete work. You allow between maybe 30% and 50% for consolidation, for shrinkages, for waste. So that is too much. So we should look back and see the way we do our estimation for construction works. What we are allowing, you know, to cover up for all these things, they are on the high side, and it's making it to the disadvantage of the clients and the contractors. You know, if you want to make it in Nigeria, just be a contractor. Most especially civil engineering works where they do measurements. So it's not really our culture, because our culture as Yorubas, as Hausas, as Igbos, we not, you know, promote such things. That's the way we are being trained. Do you understand? Now, our training is not our culture. It's not even our value. It's not our value. What we are trained, it's the training that we need to look at. I think you agree with me, my HOD.
Yes. A round of applause for Professor Babalola. Yes, quickly, we are behind schedule. Last comment. Okay.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, sometimes they say experience is a burden. When you are exposed to a lot and you have this kind of program going on, that's burden on you to pass some of these things to the people. But I will be very brief. Now, my Oga Cliff mentioned getting the chapter involved in program at UI. Yes, I arranged a meeting between the QS chapter and the NIQS chapter of state and the dean of that faculty, and we had very useful interaction. As a matter of fact, I was given a copy of the syllabus, and I gave it to the chairman, that's Odewale, and he worked on it and he synergized. So we are involved in that programming. Now, looking at financing infrastructure through partnerships. Now, there are a lot of things that we have to take into consideration. Nigeria is a peculiar country. What works in overseas, when it comes to Nigeria, we will domesticate it and it will not work. But then that's not to say this is not working. For example, in UI work, we are building hostels now through PPP, and it's working. There we have a very refined system. There is no corruption. I can say without my mouth. Or let me say, it's reduced to the barest. Those who have worked with us will know that nobody will say, come on, let's negotiate on, we don't do that in UI. So there is sanity, you know, in our system. So it's working. What we do is we submit your bid to engage in PPP. We have templates for the design and all of that. So you go out, you have start an MOU with us, and then we give you the land, build, you operate, so 5 years after you transfer to the university. So that's what we do, and we have built some hostels like that as I'm talking with you. And more are still coming in to supplement what we have on ground. Now let me say this as a mass. This ideology may not work in Nigeria, and I'm a reason. Politics and political instability will not make it work. You were talking about change in government. What affected by the Lagos Expressway is change in government from Obasanjo to Jonathan, and then it was, in fact, the whole thing was cancelled, and it's now being handled by three contractors now. So politics is a very major factor. We have not grown to the point that we will separate politics from administration. Because I am president today, whatever I do when I'm president, my successor may not buy into it. And then I will say, look, that's rubbish. But when we know that government is a continuum, that will go a long way to help us to stabilize this practice of PPP. Then our leaders don't like us. That is the truth. Everybody is fighting for their own interests. Saraki is there at the local with Oshomole. Oshomole is eating up the polity. He's saying that you must impeach Saraki. And Saraki is saying, okay, I will not open the Senate for you to even impeach me at all. And what is behind all this? Selfish interest. Gari is so expensive in the market, rice is expensive, and nobody is talking about that anymore. It's about survival in governance and in government. So what time do they have to think of the common man on issues like this? So to be able to get our politics right, we have elections in a peaceful manner, no rancor, no unnecessary violence. Then we can then begin to move. But we have not even started at all. That's number one. Number two, corruption. I mentioned while I was reviewing my paper about the governor in our state. Once there's a proposal taken to him, he will ask you, what is there for me? Yes. Those who are involved there will attest what is the need for me. So his idea is, what will I benefit from the project? If it has not, if it's not going to benefit anything, it goes off. So that I don't want to speak too much on that. Then poor packaging. Most of those in the ministries, we do this. Where is Fisayo? Is he around now? He has left. Some of them professionals, some of them are lazy to read, will not examine the documents properly. This is about the Lagos concessional arrangement. They did not read into it, they did not read the details. They didn't know the extent to which that will affect the government. So they just signed it and it became a problem. That's also an issue. Those who are in government should please scrutinize the documents properly so that you will not put chains in the hands of government and by extension Nigerians. So packaging is a problem. If we are sure that what is in that document is favorable to the government and to Nigerians, it is then we can say, okay, let's execute it that way. Then, for implementation, that has been, the budget allocation and the actual release. Somebody asked on why is there degrading allowances for infrastructure. Now let me tell you this. The budget is just a vision document. But at implementation, there's a lot that is going on there. When you say for Project A, we are allowing 50 billion naira, that's by projection, based on some factors. But at implementation, what we may get may be just 10 or 10 billion out of 50 billion. Those of us who work with government, we know that the first quarter, you will get allocation. Second quarter, you get allocation. In the last 10 years, you hardly get the third and fourth quarters to fund projects. So you only plan on the first and second releases. That is a problem. So, and it's because of insecurity that, I was with the chairman, when you're running a budget, something comes up, like Boko Haram, like X-Men. You have to divert funds earlier meant for something else to finance the security challenges. So that is also a problem. And then sometimes the political will to get some things done is never there with our government. Then, thank you.
Wow. A round of applause for QS Olaniyan. We want to appreciate you for the time spent. We appreciate the speakers for the time spent in preparing their papers, and we have immensely benefited from them. And we pray that God will continue to increase you, take you from height to greater heights in the name of Jesus. Thank you so much. God bless you. And as the Saraki and the Dogara of this meeting this morning, I hereby declare this morning session closed.
All right. Thank you very much to Mr. Pastor QS Akin-Adejumo for that wonderful session. I want to believe that every one of us have enjoyed the session. Can we put our hands together again for we want us to take a very brief moment to interact and, talk to each other, network. Let us relate to each other as we close this session. But we don't want us to just disperse as we close this session, but let us just interact, network, and speak to each other while we wait for the chairman to come and give us a brief information, a quick information rather.
Thank you so much. I want to also use this opportunity to thank everyone this morning. Some of you came in right when we were doing the opening ceremony, and you've also been around till now. I want to thank you so much, and I'm believing that you have seen the first session in the morning. We have also packaged 2 papers in the afternoon. The people that will speak will truly address their papers, and they will be of immense benefit to all of us. I just want to advise everyone here to wait till the end of today. And also, I'm sure this hall will be filled up by tomorrow. I've got feelers from so many people out there that they will be coming later in the day. Then, I also want to bring this information to you that the NIQS Oyo State chapter is going to be organizing seminars at every of our monthly meetings. Every of our meetings now will take the shape of a seminar, because we don't want you to come to a place and not go with certain things, at least that will add to what you have already known, or also to help you to know what you don't know at all. So please, our seminar or our meeting venue is now at the Pentorize Event Center. How many of us know where the place is? Pentorize is at the roundabout of Awolowo Way, just after the housing, Ministry of Housing. I think we should also make it a date. It's every Thursday of the month from 5 o'clock, and by 6:30 we are done, we are out, and everybody will go home. We don't want to take much time. Very shortly, the lunch will be served, and I want you to go and have your lunch. The lunch is just for 1 hour. exactly when it is, we'll even reduce the time now. When it's 2:45, we will come back and start the second session. An issue was raised there that in one of the universities, they didn't want to start the coin surveying department because of corruption. I think we will look into that. That is a slight on us. I think we have to address it, and we'll look into that. So, Alan, the lunch is being prepared, but for the time being, please can we go ahead and do the interaction? And while I'm just speaking, somebody walked in. And let me just make a quick introduction of one of our important personalities that walked in. He's a very good friend of mine, the immediate secretary in charge of marketing and corporate affairs of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors in the person of QS GDOK, FNI QS. Put your hands together for him. He just walked in, and I'm sure he has also brought us some goodwill messages. Some years back, he was the chairman of the Lagos State chapter, and he has been a tremendous asset. He has been a tremendous asset to the institute. Please, QSU come, please come. I don't know the modalities of how you want to do the question and the interaction. Please go ahead while the food will be prepared. Once the food is served, this is how we want to go about eating. We'll give priorities, or we accord respect to the elders and to the leaders of the profession. They will go first, and then others will follow. Fellows, elders, then just like that. Everybody will be served, but let us just take it up from there. Please, let us welcome QS. So please, you can, the floor is open now. Please, the floor is open. When the food will be ready, we'll call you. We'll let you know. Please, you can dissolve, just make your interactions for the next 10 minutes, and we'll call you to come and take your lunch. Thank you so much.